Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1978 Cleveland Indians MLB baseball season. Again, the Tribe was playing in the American League, the junior circuit of Major League Baseball, and home games were played at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, where First Energy Stadium now stands, the old stadium. The Tribe in 1978 had a tough year. They finished in 6th place in the American League East with a record of 69-90, winning percentage of .434, 29 games out of first. The first place team was the New York Yankees, who were 163, winning percentage of .613. Second place, the Boston Red Sox, who were 99-64, a game out of first. Third place, the Milwaukee Brewers, 93-69. Fourth place, the Baltimore Orioles, 90-71. Fifth place, the Detroit Tigers, 86-76. Sixth place, the Cleveland Indians, 69-90. And in seventh and last place, the Toronto Blue Jays, 59-102, winning percentage of .366, 40 games out of first. In the American League West, the first place team was the Kansas City Royals, who were 92-70. Second place, the Texas Rangers, 87-75. Third place, the California Angels, also 87-75. Fourth place, the Minnesota Twins, 73-89. Fifth place, the Chicago White Sox, 71-90. Sixth place, the Oakland A's, 69-93. And seventh and last place, the Seattle Mariners, who were 56-104, winning percentage of .350, 35 games out of first. Tribe attendance in 1978 at home was 800,584, down about 100,000 from 1977, and they were at an average of about 10,070 per game. 1978, Willie Mays was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. On April 13th at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees gave away Reggie bars honoring Reggie Jackson. That same day, Roger Maris returned for the first time to Yankee Stadium. He'd been estranged from the Yankees. He walked out on the field with Mickey Mantle. Marty Apple wrote, quote, "There was an ovation, and it went on and on. It was a very moving experience for all of us there." Tom Clavin and Danny Peary wrote, quote, "Roger Maris stood his ground and accepted the unexpected adulation from the crowd. He couldn't stop grinning. Mantle waved too, but on this day he knew most of the cheers were for the return of the Yankees' prodigal son." Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle raised the 1977 Yankees World Series title banner. Owner George Steinbrenner said, quote, "I was glad I was able to bring Roger back. It was an enormous upper to see that champion walk onto the field. It was a highlight of my ownership." Roger Maris said, quote, "I've never been in a situation where people cheered for me like that. It was nice. It was nice, too, to be home." Sports writer Maury Allen wrote, quote, "Some 17 years after the summer of '61, the slate seemed wiped clean. The fans had forgiven Maris for not being Mantle, for driving Babe Ruth from his lofty heights, for not showing more public joy. On this day, as it should have been in 1961, they only cared that this man had electrified baseball, performed a heroic feat, slugged more home runs in one season than any man who ever lived, and did it with determination, grace, and pride." Claude L. Washington was reportedly listless on offense and indifferent on defense, playing for the Chicago White Sox, and the fans in the bleachers at Comiskey Park had signs that read, quote, "Washington slept here." The Oakland A's' first 16 games of the season on their radio broadcast came from the University of California at Berkeley, a student-operated radio station, 10 watts, with only a 3 to 4 mile range from the campus. Could you hear those games? The Detroit Tigers had a new shortstop second base combination, Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker. Whitaker was Rookie of the Year, and the two, Whitaker and Trammell, had a record 1,918 games together. Shortstop second base combination. The Cincinnati Reds home opener was the Reds became the first team to strike out into a triple play. George Foster was at first, Joe Morgan was at third, and Dan Dreesen was batting. Dreesen struck out. Foster was caught trying to steal, and Joe Morgan was also caught stealing. Also at the Yankee home opener, as we said, there were these Reggie Bar giveaways honoring Reggie Jackson, and Jackson hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. The fans threw the Reggie Bars onto the field. Sparky Lyle said, quote, "It was a hailstorm of Reggie Bars. They covered the outfield and the home plate area like a lawn overgrown with dandelions." Catfish Hunter said, quote, "When you unwrap a Reggie Bar, it tells you how good it is." On April 12th of 1978, Texas Rangers starting pitcher Roger Moret went into a catatonic trance before the game. For 90 minutes, he stood motionless before his locker. Later, he said to Sports Illustrated, quote, "I have not been through hell. Hell has been through me." Red Sox third baseman Butch Hobson had 43 errors for a fielding percentage of .899, the worst of any full-time fielder since the dead ball era. On July 25th, Yankee manager Billy Martin resigned or was fired, combination of both. On July 29th, there was the Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium. Now, at that time, Bob Lemon was the new manager. And during this the Old Timers game, before the regular game, it was announced through the public address system that Bob Lemon would manage the Yankees through the end of the 1979 season. And in 1980, he would become general manager. And the public announcer continued and said, quote, "The Yankees would like to announce at this time that the manager for the 1980 season, and hopefully for many years after that, will be number 1, Billy Martin." Martin ran onto the field, grinning, and there was a deafening standing ovation for 6 minutes. So the popular Billy Martin, who had been fired, basically, and they were announcing he was going to be the new manager in two years. San Francisco Giants' Willie McCovey became the 12th player to reach 500 home runs in 1978. Cincinnati Reds' Pete Rose had a 44-game hitting streak, which is second all-time behind Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak in 1941. On September 23rd, California Angels player Lyman Bostock was murdered in Gary, Indiana. He was in a car at a traffic light, and must have been gang warfare. Anyway, very tragic, the death of Lyman Bostock. On August 30th, the Red Sox had a 7-game lead over the Yankees. On September 7th was the start of a 4-game series, Yankees-Red Sox at Fenway Park in Boston, and the Yankees swept the series 4-0. They won the games 15-3, 13-12, 7-0, and 7-4. Red Sox pitcher Bill Lee said, quote, "Getting on the field with the Yankees was akin to stepping into a wading pool with jaws. Every time we made a move, they would bite off another limb. It was terrifying to watch. They called this the Boston Massacre. It led to the two teams being tied with 14 games to play." Bill Lee continued, quote, "By the time the Yankees left Fenway, we were walking around in a daze. It was as if the entire team had just returned from Cambodia." He's referring to the 1975-1979, very tragic, when the Khmer Rouge government of Cambodia murdered 2 million people, 25% of the population. Unbelievably tragic. On the last game of the regular season, Cleveland Indians' Rick Waits beat the Yankees 9-2 in New York City, and the headlines was "Waits keeps them waiting." It meant the Red Sox and Yankees finished the season in a tie, and they had a 1-game playoff, first time that had happened in the American League since 1948 when Cleveland had tied with Boston. And the game was played in Fenway Park in Boston. In the 7th, the Red Sox were up 2-0. Yankees had 2 on and 2 out. Bucky Dent hit a 3-run home run. The Yanks went on to win the game 5-4. I'm reading a fine book. The title is Gator, My Life in Pinstripes. Ron Guidry with Andrew Beaton, 2018. Guidry was 25-3 in 1978 with a 1.74 ERA. I also read another fine book, Octobermen, Reggie Jackson, George Steinbrenner, Billy Martin, and the Yankees' Miraculous Finish in 1978 by Roger Kahn, 2003. Now for the Indians, Ted Bonda was the owner at the beginning of the season. Bonda was the head of the ownership group from 1975 to 1978. The tribe was sold by that group, headed by Banda, to F.J. Steve O'Neill, in the group that included 7 investors, including Banda himself, on February 3rd, 1978, $6 million selling price. Banda had been negotiating to sell the team to Donald Trump, but Trump would not give an assurance to keep the team in Cleveland, so that deal did not go through. Ted Banda died in 2005. Ted Banda. So Steve O'Neill was the new tribe owner. He was a tribe owner from 1978 to 1983. Steve O'Neill was born in 1899. He died in 1983. He was a lifelong resident of Cleveland. His family made its fortune in the trucking business. He was part owner from the tribe from 1961 onward. 1973, he was part owner of the New York Yankees. He bought a 63% stake of the tribe in 1978. Steve O'Neill went to college at the University of Notre Dame. He played on the basketball team. Gabe Paul was a minority owner. Now, the amount of money paid included $5 million in debt, total of $11 million, $6 million plus $5 million debt. O'Neill said, quote, "I'm a Clevelander, as always have been. I love baseball as a fan, and when I saw the sad situation with the team here, I wanted to help. When Gabe Paul agreed to come back to Cleveland, I was anxious to be a part of it." Author Jack Torrey wrote, quote, "By the time Steve O'Neill bought control of the Indians in 1978, he was 78, frail and suffering from emphysema, the result of his heavy cigarette habit. He could have moved to Arizona, where it was easier to breathe. But when friends or relatives suggested it, O'Neill would invariably reply, 'Cleveland's my home. It's my city.' Steve O'Neill." Gabe Paul was head of the tribe ownership group from 1963 to 1966. He was tribe GM from 1961 to 1973, and he was tribe president and CEO from 1978 to 1984, so he returned from New York City. Gabe Paul. Phil Seggy was the general manager. He was tribe GM from 1973 to 1985, but from 78 to 84, he was subordinate to Gabe Paul. Phil Seggy. Herb Score was back on 3WE Radio. Herb Score was a tribe player from 1955 to 1959, and he was a tribe TV and radio broadcaster from 1964 to 1997, and he's buried at Lakewood Park Cemetery in Rocky River, Ohio. Herb Score. Joe Tate was his partner on the radio. Tate was a tribe radio broadcaster from 1973 to 1979, a tribe TV broadcaster from 1980 to 1987, and a Cleveland Cavaliers radio broadcaster from 1970 to 2011. Joe Tate. Jim Mueller was a tribe TV guy on WJKW-TV. Mueller was a tribe TV broadcaster just in 1978. He was a Cleveland Cavaliers radio broadcaster from 1976 to 1980, a Cleveland Browns broadcaster from 1975 to 1993, and a Michigan International Speedway announcer from 1984 to 2017. Jim Mueller. Eddie Doucette was his partner on WJKW-TV. Doucette was also just a tribe TV broadcaster in 1978. He was the original radio broadcaster for the Milwaukee Bucks for 16 years. He was an NBA broadcaster for the Indiana Pacers, Denver Nuggets, LA Clippers, and Portland Trail Blazers. In MLB, he was a broadcaster for the San Diego Padres, Houston Astros, LA Dodgers, and Milwaukee Brewers. In the World Football League, he broadcast for the Chicago Fire. He also did college baseball, college basketball, the PGA Tour, golf, boxing, bowling, track, and field. He founded the MACC Fund, Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer, after his 2-year-old son, Brett, was diagnosed with cancer. He coined the term the skyhook for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's shot on May 10, 1974 at Boston Garden, Game 6 of the NBA Finals. In 2013, Eddie Doucette received the Kurt Gowdy Media Award for electronic media. He's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He's also in the Wisconsin Broadcasters Hall of Fame in 2011 and resides in Poway, California. Eddie Doucette. Jeff Torborg was the Indians' manager. Torborg was a tribe coach from 1975 to 1977 and tribe manager from 1977 to 1979. Jeff Torborg. Rocky Colavito was the hitting coach. Colavito was a Tribe player from 1955 to 1959 and from 1965 to 1967. Colavito was a Tribe coach in 1973 and from 1976 to 1978. And he was a Tribe TV broadcaster in 1972 and from 1975 to 1976. Last year they erected a Rocky Colavito statue in Little Italy in Cleveland. Don't knock the rock. Rocky Colavito. Dave Duncan was a bullpen coach. Duncan was a Tribe player in 1973 and 1974, and he was a Tribe coach from 1978 to 1981. Dave Duncan. Harvey Haddix was a pitching coach. Haddix was a Tribe coach from 1975 to 1978. He died in 1994 in Springfield, Ohio at age 68. Harvey Haddix. Joe Moeller was a bullpen coach. Moeller was just a Tribe coach just in 1978. Joe Moeller was born in 1943 in Blue Island, Illinois, and he was 77 years old in 2020. As an MLB pitcher, he was 26-36, ERA of 4.01, 307 strikeouts. Moeller pitched for the LA Dodgers in 1962, 1964, from 1966 to 1971. He won a National League title in 1966 with the LA Dodgers. He was the youngest starting pitcher in Dodgers history at age 19 years and 2 months. He pitched two innings in the 1966 World Series. He was a scout. He's been a scout for the Miami Marlins through 2002 to the present, and won a World Series title in 2003 with the Miami Marlins. In the minors, he pitched for the Reno Silver Sox, Greenville Spinners, Spokane Indians, Hawaii Islanders, Eugene Emeralds, and Montreal Expos. He was a Montreal Expos scout. Joe Moeller. Joe Nosek was a third base coach. Nosek was a Tribe coach from 1977 to 1981. Joe Nosek. Now the Indians' starting lineup, Gary Alexander was behind the plate. Alexander was the catcher. He batted .235 with 17 home runs, 62 RBIs, 76 hits, 39 runs scored, 14 doubles, 3 triples, 35 walks, 100 strikeouts in 90 games. Gary Alexander was born in 1953 in Los Angeles, California, and he was 67 years old in 2020. For his career in MLB, he hit .230 with 55 home runs and 202 RBIs. Alexander played for the San Francisco Giants, Oakland A's, Cleveland Indians, and Pittsburgh Pirates from 1975 to 1981. He was with the Tribe from 1978 to 1980. He caught John Montefusco's no-hitter in 1976. He's currently the captain of the Los Angeles, California Fire Department. He was traded to the Tribe on June 15, 1978 from the Oakland A's for Joe Wallace. He was Texas League Player of the Year in 1975. In the Dominican Republic, he played for Águilas Cibaeñas. In Mexico, he played for Azules de Coatzacoalcos and Leones de Yucatan. In the Dominican Republic, he also played for Leones de Escondido. In Venezuela, he played for Cardenales de Lara. In the minor leagues, he played for the Lafayette Drillers, and he went to played for the college baseball for the Los Angeles Harbor College Seahawks. Gary Alexander. Andre Thornton was at first base. Thornton batted .262 with 133 hits. He scored 97 runs, 22 doubles, 4 triples, 33 home runs, 105 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 93 walks in 145 games. Thornton was a Tribe player from 1977 to 1987. He was the 1978 Tribe Man of the Year, and he also won the Gordon Cobbledick Golden Tomahawk Co-Award winner. I read a fine book. The title is Triumph Born of Tragedy by Andre Thornton and Al Jansen, 1983. In October of 1977, Andre Thornton was in a very bad car accident. He was driving. His wife Gertrude and their 3-year-old daughter Teresa died. Thornton and his son Andre Jr. survived. Andre Thornton said, quote, "It was the worst imaginable nightmare. In the midst of total darkness, I was searching for those most precious to me. Sharp, tiny pellets of snow and freezing rain stung my face. I struggled to maintain my footing on icy pavement." Later at the hospital, he learned of the death of his wife and daughter and said, quote, "Where does a man go when those whom he knows best and loves most are forever gone? I became aware of the overwhelming need to pray. Years spent nurturing and developing a relationship with God now took hold automatically. I knew there was only one place to go. There was only one person who could give me the hope and peace I so desperately needed. And yet there were no words for my prayer. But I was praying. I was simply acknowledging that He was the source of strength I would need to survive the next few minutes. I couldn't even comprehend how to survive the coming days and weeks. I would be content if I could make it for the next 5 minutes. He told his son, who was 4 years old, quote, "Your mother and sister are gone." And Thornton continued, quote, "The thought entered my mind that I never wanted to be separated from my boy again. My prayers began to crystallize into words. They were words of thanksgiving. Thanks to God for the blessings He had poured out on us. There were thanks for the 7 years God allowed my wife Gert and me to be together. Thanks for the 3 years little Teresa had been part of our lives. As I prayed, I felt a peace pour over me like a divine bubble of protection coming down and enveloping me. The peace I experienced reminded me that God was real and that there was reason to live." On December 10th, 1976, he was traded by the Montreal Expos to the Tribe for Jackie Brown, and Thornton said, quote, "My wife Gert and I decided to make our home in Cleveland and settle down as a family. Perhaps we could start a Bible study on the team." One day in Minneapolis, Thornton invited the coach Jeff Torborg to go to a Bible study with him there, and he said, quote, Thornton said, quote, "I wasn't playing well at the time. Jeff asked me to explain how I could be so calm in the midst of such a difficult time. I explained how my life was committed to the Lord. There is tremendous grace available to people who trust God in the midst of suffering." Regarding the death of his wife and daughter, Andre Thornton wrote, quote, "This tragedy rammed home how temporary life is. Like a flower that blooms for a few days, they had lived a few short years. Now they were gone." At the funeral for his wife Gertrude and their daughter Teresa, Ted Bonda came along with Jeff Torborg, Buddy Bell, and Dwayne Kuiper. Thornton continued, quote, "Satan burdened me with guilt. God bestowed on me His peace. Satan's questions were a cancer that could destroy me if not checked. I had to believe that, quote, God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God. I was seeing that through my suffering, my faith was being purified. All that wasn't essential was being thrown out. What remained was the steadfast conviction that God was real, that He loved me, and that He had a purpose for my life. During those weeks, the Psalms were a tremendous source of encouragement to me. They expressed anger and frustration to God for seeming injustices of this world, then remembered a soothing hope that ultimately His justice would prevail. Do not fret because of evildoers. Trust in the Lord. From the King James Bible quote, "Consider it all joy when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its perfect result, that you may be perfect and complete." Thornton received in the 1978 Danny Thompson Award for exemplary Christian spirit in baseball. Andre Thornton. Dwayne Kuiper played second base. Kuiper batted .283 with 155 hits, 52 runs scored, 18 doubles, 6 triples, 43 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 19 walks in 149 games. Kuiper played for Cleveland from 1974 to 1981. And in 1971, he was the co-winner of the Gordon Cobbledick Golden Tomahawk Award, and he also won the Good Guy Award. Dwayne Kuiper. Tom Verizor played shortstop. Verizor batted .271 with 114 hits. He scored 48 runs, 18 doubles, 4 triples, a home run, 32 RBIs, a stolen base, 13 walks in 130 games. Tom Verizor was born in 1953 in Port Jefferson, New York. He died in 2014 in Islip, New York at age 61. For his MLB career, he hit .241 with 14 home runs and 231 RBIs. Verizor played for the Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, New York Mets, and Chicago Cubs from 1973 to 1984. He was with the Tribe from 1978 to 1981. In high school, he hit .467. He also played soccer and basketball. His father was the athletic director and basketball coach. In 1971, in the Appalachian League, he was MVP after graduating from high school. He He was known for his defensive play. A Detroit scout predicted that Tom Verizor would be the greatest shortstop since Honus Wagner. A Chicago scout predicted that Verizor would be one of the greatest shortstops of all time. Billy Martin said that Verizor was, quote, the best-looking young shortstop I've ever seen. At age 20, in his first MLB at-bat in 1973, he had a single off the Twins' Dave Goltz. On June 8, 1975, he broke up a no-hitter that Ken Holtzman had with 2 outs in the ninth with a double. 1975, he was a Topps Rookie of the Year All-Star team. He was traded to the Tribe by the Tigers on December 9, 1979 for Charlie Spikes. On September 13, he had a game-winning RBI suicide squeeze bunt against the Red Sox. Tribe won 2-1. He was in the 1984 NLCS with the Cubs. Verizor and his wife Vivian had 3 children, Tom Jr., Billy, and Jenny. He's in the Suffolk Sports Hall of Fame, Long Island, 1985. He died in 2014 after a stroke. In the minors, he played for the Montgomery Rebels, Toledo Mud Hens, and Evansville Triplets. Tom Verizor. Buddy Bell was at third base. Bell batted .282 with 157 hits. He scored 71 runs, 27 doubles, 8 triples, 6 home runs, 62 RBIs, a stolen base, 39 walks in 142 games. Bell was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1978. On December 8, 1978, he was traded by the Tribe to the Texas Rangers for Toby Harrah. His MLB playing career continued until 1989 with the Texas Rangers. He was an MLB manager until 2007 with the Kansas City Royals. He was a Tribe coach 1994 and 1995, and from 2003 to 2005. Buddy Bell. Johnny Grubb was in left field. Grubb batted .265 with 100 hits. He scored 54 runs, 16 doubles, 6 triples, 14 home runs, 61 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 59 walks in 113 games. Grubb was a Tribe player from 1977 to 1978. On August 31st, 1978, he was traded by the Tribe to the Texas Rangers for Bobby Cuellar and Dave Rivera. His MLB playing career continued until 1987 with the Detroit Tigers. Johnny Grubb. Rick Manning was in center field. Manning batted .263 with 149 hits, 27 doubles, 3 triples, 3 home runs, 50 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 38 walks in 148 games. Rick Manning was a Tribe player from 1975 to 1983 and a Tribe TV broadcaster from 1990 to the present. Rick Manning. Paul Dade was in right field. Dade batted .254 with 78 hits. He scored 37 runs, 12 doubles, a triple, 3 home runs, 20 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 34 walks in 93 games. Paul Dade was with Cleveland from 1977 to 1979. Paul Dade. Bernie Carbo was the designated hitter. Carbo batted .287 with 50 hits. He scored 21 runs, 8 doubles, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, a stolen base, 20 walks in 60 games. Bernie Carbo was born in 1947 in Detroit, Michigan, and he was 73 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he hit .264 with 96 home runs and 358 RBIs, mostly as an outfielder. Carbo played for the Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox, Milwaukee Brewers, Cleveland Indians, and Pittsburgh Pirates from 1969 to 1980. He was just with the Tribe in 1978. He was sold on June 15th by the Red Sox to the Tribe. He's in the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. He was the Reds' number 1 draft pick in the inaugural 1965 draft ahead of Johnny Bench. He was a 1970 Sporting News Rookie of the Year. His career highs were .310, 21, and 63. After being traded to Boston in 1974, Carbo said, quote, "When I first met Red Sox owner Mr. Yawkey, he was shining shoes in the clubhouse, and I went up to him, gave him $20 and told him to get me a cheeseburger and French fries." Carbo would carry around a giant stuffed gorilla named Mighty Joe Young, which would sit next to Carbo in the middle seat of the airplane. He was part of the Buffalo Heads. He was part of the Buffalo Heads with Bill Spaceman Lee and Ferguson Jenkins. 1970 won a National League pennant with the Cincinnati Reds. In 1975, he won an American League pennant with the Red Sox. Game 6 of the 1975 World Series, bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, 2 on. The Red Sox down 6-3. Carbo hit a 3-run home run that tied the game at 6-all. Red Sox won in 12 on Carlton Fisk's home run. After retiring from baseball, he went to cosmetology school and opened a hair salon. 1980 to 1990, he hit rock bottom. His mother committed suicide. His father died. He had a drug problem. He was a manager for the Pensacola Pelicans from 2003 to 2005 in the Senior Professional Baseball League. He had a record of 150 and 103. In 2006, he was a full-time Diamond Club ministry, a strong Christian. And Carbo said, quote, "I threw away my career. If I knew Jesus Christ was my Savior at age 17, I would have been one heck of a ball player, a near Hall of Famer. Instead, I wanted to die." In the minors, he played for the Tampa Tarpons, Peninsula Grays, Knoxville Smokies, Asheville Tourists, and Evansville Triplets. Carbo was suicidal at one point, and he reached out. Joe Garagiola connected him with Sam McDowell, who helped him at the time. And, of course, he was able to turn his life around and is doing well today. Bernie Carbo. The bench players included Jim Norris, who hit .283 with 89 hits. He scored 41 runs, 14 doubles, 5 triples, 2 home runs, 27 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 42 walks in 113 games. Norris was with Cleveland from 1977 to 1979. Jim Norris. Ted Cox was a utility player. Cox hit .233 with 53 hits. He scored 14 runs, 7 doubles, a home run, 19 RBIs, 16 walks in 82 games. Ted Cox was born in 1955 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He died in 2020 in Midwest City, Oklahoma at age 65. For his career, he hit .245 with 10 home runs and 79 RBIs, mostly as a third baseman. He played for the Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Indians, Seattle Mariners, and Toronto Blue Jays from 1977 to 1981. He was with the Tribe in 1978 and 1979. He was traded by the Boston Red Sox to the Tribe on March 30th, 1978, with Rick Wise, Mike Paxton, Bo Diaz for Dennis Eckersley and Fred Kendall. He was drafted in 1973 by the Red Sox, the 17th pick ahead of Fred Lynn in the first round. He was the 17th pick ahead of Fred Lynn. In 1977 in AAA with the Pawtucket Red Sox, he hit .334 with 14 home runs, 81 RBIs, and was an all-star. He was a Topps International League Player of the Year. His first MLB game was September 18, 1977. And he thanked Brooks Robinson in Baltimore. Or it was a thank you, Brooks Robinson in Baltimore. Cox went 4-for-4, tied the MLB record for most hits in the first game. He was tied with Casey Stengel, Willie McCovey, and Mac Jones. In the next game, his first 2 at-bats, he had 2 hits, so he was 6 for 6, starting off his career, an MLB record. 1977, he hit .362 for the Red Sox. After he retired, he operated the Grand Slam batting cages in Oklahoma City. He was the Oklahoma baseball director, U.S. Specialty Sports Association, assistant baseball coach for the Midwest City High School and Oklahoma City University. Cox worked with the MLB Players Alumni Association, raising money for charities and civic causes. In November of 2019, he was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. On April 9, 1980, he was the first player in American League history to collect a game-winning RBI, the first time the statistic was kept. In Mexico, he played for Diablos Rojos del Mexico. In the minors, he played for the Elmira Pioneers. And in Venezuela, he played for Tiburones de la Guaira. Ted Cox. Larville Blanks played some shortstop. Blanks batted .254 with 49 hits. He scored 19 runs, 10 doubles, 2 home runs, 20 RBIs, 10 walks in 70 games. Blanks was with Cleveland from 1976 to 1980. On October 3, 1978, he was traded by the Tribe with Jim Kern to the Texas Rangers for Bobby Bonds and Len Barker. His MLB career continued until 1980 with the Atlanta Braves. Larville Blanks. Ron Pruitt was a catcher. Pruitt batted .235 with 44 hits. He scored 17 runs, 6 doubles, a triple, 6 home runs, 17 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 16 walks in 71 games. Pruitt was with Cleveland from 1976 to 1981. Ron Pruitt. Willie Horton was a designated hitter. Horton batted .249 with 42 hits. He scored 15 runs, 7 doubles, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 15 walks in 50 games. Willie Horton was born in 1942 in Arno, Virginia, and he was 78 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he batted .273 with 325 home runs, 1,163 RBIs. Horton played for the Detroit Tigers, Texas Rangers, Cleveland Indians, Oakland A's, Toronto Blue Jays, and Seattle Mariners from 1963 to 1980. He was with the Tribe just in 1978. Horton was a 4-time All-Star, 1965, 68, 1970, and 1973. He won a World Series title in 1968 with the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers retired his number 23 in his honor. Mostly a left fielder, DH, mostly with the Tigers. 20 times he hits at least 7 times he hit at least 20 home runs. Horton was the youngest of 21 children of James and Lillian Horton. Horton hit a home run at Tiger Stadium at age 16 in an all-city high school game, the city championship for Detroit Northwestern High School in 1959. He signed with the Tigers afterward. 1963, he hit a pinch home run off of Robin Roberts in his second MLB at-bat. 1965, he was second in the American League with 104 RBIs and third with 29 home runs. He was on the All-Star team. He finished 8th in the American League MVP voting. He was known for his tremendous strength, often hit home runs. 1967, there was a Detroit, the 12th Street riot. He tried bravely to restore the peace. He stood in the Tigers uniform on a car in the middle of chaos, pleading for calm. Despite Horton's pleas, the city was burned for 5 more days. The 1968 World Series, he hit .304, and in Game 5, the Cardinals were up 3-1 in the series, and they were up 3-2 in the game. In the 5th inning, Horton made a throw to the plate, and Lou Brock was out. That was the key play in the game and in the World Series. Horton called it the most memorable moment of his career. June 9, 1970, he had 3 home runs against the Brewers. On April 14, 1974, Horton hit a pop-up at Fenway Park that killed a pigeon. On July 18, 1969, in a Tribe Tigers game, he tied the record for the most putouts by a left fielder with 9. With the Boston Braves' Earl Clark, later tied by Jacoby Ellsbury of the Red Sox. On May 15, 1977, with the Rangers, he hit 3 home runs in a game against the Royals. He also played for in Venezuela for the Navegantes de Magallanes, and he was a DH manager. They called him El Brujo, the Wizard. The team was in last place in 1977. 1979, he won a Caribbean Series championship. 1979, with the Mariners, he was the American League Outstanding Designated Hitter. 1979, he was the Sporting News Comeback Player of the Year, hit .279 with 29 home runs and 106 RBIs. After retiring from MLB, he had 2 years in the Pacific Coast League, a year in Mexico. Now, the baseball superstition, he used the same batting helmet his entire career. He kept repainting the bat helmet as he changed teams. After he retired, he was a coach for the New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox. In 2000, the Tigers had a statue erected of Horton at Comerica Park. That's when his number 23 was retired. He joined Ty Cobb, who didn't have a number, Charlie Gehringer, Hank Greenberg, Al Kaline, and Hal Newhouser. Horton's statue is a testament of the crucial role Horton tried to play to restoring peace and quell the eruptions of the 1967 riot. It's an enduring symbol of peace and harmony in the hard-scrabble city, often beset by racial tension. Since 2003, Horton has been the special assistant to Tigers president and CEO. Willie Horton Day was October 18th, started in 2003. In the minors, he played for the Knoxville Smokies and Portland Beavers. Willie Horton Bo Diaz was a catcher. Diaz batted .236 with 30 hits. He scored 12 runs, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, 4 walks in 44 games. Diaz was born in 1953 in Cuba, Miranda, Venezuela, South America, and he died in 1990 in Caracas, Venezuela at age 37. During his MLB career, he hit .255 with 87 home runs and 452 RBIs. He played for the Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Indians, Philadelphia Phillies, and Cincinnati Reds from 1977 to 1989. He was with the Tribe from 1978 to 1981. He was an All-Star 1981 with the Tribe and 1987 with the Reds. He's the first Venezuelan MLB player to be a regular catcher. He's in the Venezuela Baseball Hall of Fame, posthumously inducted in 2006. Age 14, he played on the national champion Little League team. He missed the trip to the 1967 Little League World Series when a strong earthquake devastated the city of Caracas. He had 7 seasons in the minors with the Red Sox. Diaz was traded to the Tribe on March 30th, 1978 with Ted Cox, Mike Paxton, and Rick Wise for Dennis Eckersley and Fred Kendall. 1982 with Diaz with the Phillies, he was the second best National League catcher. On April 13th, 1983, Diaz hit a walk-off grand slam with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Phillies against the Mets. Phillies were down 9-6 and won 10-9. On September 23, 1983, Diaz was the catcher when Steve Carlton won his 300th game. 1983, the Phillies won the National League title. The final week of the season, Diaz hit .360. The game on September 28th, he went 5 for 5 with 2 home runs. In the 1983, Diaz led the Phillies with a .333 average. Game 1, John Lowenstein robbed Diaz of a home run with a spectacular catch beyond the wall. On June 27, 1986, Diaz had an unusual occurrence in a game in San Francisco. There was a double by Robbie Thompson. He was the first player caught stealing 4 times in one game. He was thrown out by Diaz 3 times and picked off by pitcher John Franco. July 1987, Bo Diaz was National League Player of the Month. Diaz played exclusively for Leones del Caracas in the Venezuelan Winter League from 1972 to 1990. He caught 2 no-hitters in Venezuela, 13 years apart. 1973 for Urbano Lugo, 1986 for Urbano Lugo Jr., his son. In 1990, Diaz died at age 37 when his satellite dish on the roof of his home fell, or he went to adjust it. It fell on him, crushing his neck and head. He played in the minors for the Elmira Pioneers and Tacoma Tugs. Bo Diaz. Horace Speed played some outfield. Speed batted .226 with 24 hits. He scored 13 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, 4 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 14 walks. Horace Speed was born in 1951 in Los Angeles, California. He was 69 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he hit .207 with 28 hits and 4 stolen bases. He was with the San Francisco Giants in 1975 and with the Indians in 1978 and 79. He was drafted in the 3rd round of the 1969 MLB draft by the San Francisco Giants. He signed as a free agent with the Tribe December 7, 1977. 1978 was his best MLB year. In the minors, he played for the Tacoma Tugs and the Decatur Commodores. In Venezuela, he played for the Cardenales de Lara and Navegantes del Magallanes. Horace Speed. Wayne Cage was a DH. Cage batted .245 with 24 hits. He scored 11 runs, 6 doubles, triple, 4 home runs, 13 RBIs, a stolen base, 9 walks in 36 games. Cage was born in 1951 in Monroe, Louisiana, and he was 68 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he hit .240 with 12 home runs and 47 RBIs. Cage was with Cleveland from 1978 to 1979. He played for the Hankyu Braves in Japan from 1981 to 1982, and he was drafted by the Cleveland Indians. Wayne Cage. Ron Hassey was a catcher. Hassey batted .203 with 15 hits. He scored 5 runs, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 5 walks in 25 games. Hassey was born in 1953 in Tucson, Arizona, and he was 67 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he batted .266 with 71 home runs and 438 RBIs. Hassey played for the Cleveland Indians, Chicago Cubs, New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox, Oakland A's, and Montreal Expos from 1978 to 1991. He was with the Tribe from 1978 to 1984. He won a World Series title in 1989 with the Oakland A's. He's the only catcher in MLB history to catch 2 perfect games. Len Barker with the Indians in 1981 and Dennis Martinez with the Expos in 1991. His father, Joe Hasse, was a pro baseball player for the Yankees in the minors. 1972, Hasse was at high school Tucson. He played in high school in Tucson High Magnet School that was undefeated and won the Arizona State title. In college, he went to the University of Arizona, played for the Wildcats, and Jerry Kindle, manager, won 3 NCAA titles. 1988, he won an American League title with the A's. 1990, an American League title with the A's. He was an MLB coach for the Colorado Rockies, St. Louis Cardinals. He was a scout for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he was with the Carolina Mudcats, a manager in the minors. He was a Seattle Mariners coach, manager for the Jupiter Hammerheads in the minors, also with the New Orleans Zephyrs. As a player in the minors, he played for the Hawaii Islanders, Toledo Mudhens, Tacoma Tugs, San Jose Bees, and Portland Beavers, and in Venezuela for Leones de Caracas. Hasse was called up from the minors by the Tribe on April 16, 1978, and he said, quote, "Everybody who's played in the big leagues remembers the date he was called up from the minors. For me, there was nothing like it. Run, Hasse." Dan Briggs played some right field. Briggs batted .163 with 8 hits. He scored 4 runs, had a triple, a home run, an RBI, 4 walks in 15 games. Briggs was born in 1952 in Scotia, California, and he was 68 years old in 2020. He played first base and outfield. For his MLB career, he batted .195 with 12 home runs and 53 RBIs. Briggs played for the California Angels, Cleveland Indians, San Diego Padres, Montreal Expos, and Chicago Cubs from 1975 to 1981. He was with the Tribe only in 1978. He also played for the Yakult Swallows in Japan 1982 and 83. In the minors, he played for the Columbus Clippers, Denver Bears, Portland Beavers, Salinas Packers, and Salt Lake City Gulls, also the El Paso Sun Kings and the El Paso Diablos. Dan Briggs. Mike Vail played some outfield. Vail batted .235 with 8 hits. He scored 2 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, 2 RBIs, a stolen base, a walk in 14 games. Vail was born in San Francisco, California in 1951, and he was 69 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he batted .279 with 34 home runs and 219 RBIs. Vail played for the New York Mets, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Cubs, Cincinnati Reds, San Francisco Giants, Montreal Expos, and LA Dodgers from 1975 to 1984. He was with the Tribe just in 1978. 1975 with the Tidewater Tides in the minor leagues, he was International League Player of the Year. In his first MLB at-bat, he had a pinch hit. He had a pinch hit off J.R. Richard for Houston. 1975, he tied a rookie record with a 23-game hitting streak for the Mets. 1977, he had a 22-game hitting streak also with the Mets. In his first game with the Tribe, he went 2 for 2 with a walk-off hit in the 9th. 1979, the Cubs manager Herman Frank said about Mike Vail, quote, "A constant whiner who made me sick. I just got tired of being around him. There isn't enough money in the world to pay me if I have to look at that face every day." In the minors, Mike Vail played for the Albuquerque Dukes and the Arkansas Travelers and Portland Beavers, and in Venezuela for Cardenales de Lara. He also played for the Senior Professional Baseball League for the Orlando Juice. Mike Vail. Alfredo Griffin played some shortstop. Griffin batted .500. He had 2 hits and 4 at-bats. He scored a run, had a double, 2 walks in 5 games. Griffin was with Cleveland from 1976 to 1978. On December 5, 1978, he was traded by the Tribe to the Toronto Blue Jays for Victor Cruz. His MLB playing career continued until 1993 with the Toronto Blue Jays, and he was an MLB coach for the LA Angels until 2018. Alfredo Griffin. Larry Lintz was a DH. He was a pinch runner. He had no plate appearances. He scored a run, had a stolen base in 3 games. Lintz was born in 1949 in Martinez, California, and he was 71 years old in 2020. During his MLB career, he hit .227 with 27 home runs and 128 stolen bases. He played for the Montreal Expos, St. Louis Cardinals, and Oakland A's, and Cleveland Indians from 1973 to 1978. He played second base and was a switch hitter. 1974 with the Expos, he had 50 stolen bases, 50 in the National League. In 1976 with the A's, he was almost exclusively a pinch runner. In 68 games, he only had one at bat. He had scored 21 runs, 31 stolen bases, and 42 attempts. Lintz was the inspiration for a character in the award-winning short film Darwin's Tears. In the minors, he played for the Peninsula Whips, Portland Beavers, Quebec Carnivals, San Jose Missions, Tacoma Cubs, and Tucson Toros. College baseball, he played for the San Jose State Spartans. Larry Lintz. Now, the pitching staff, Rick Waits was the ace pitcher. Waits was 13-15 with an ERA of 3.20, 34 games, 33 starts, 15 complete games, 2 shutouts, 230 and a third innings pitched, and 97 strikeouts. Rick Waits was with Cleveland from 1975 to 1983. Rick Waits. Rick Wise was 9-19 with an ERA of 4.34, 33 games, 30 all-starts, 9 complete games, a shutout, 211 innings pitched, 106 strikeouts. Rick Wise was born in 1945 in Jackson, Michigan, and he was 75 years old in 2020. During his MLB career, he won 188 games, lost 181, an ERA of 3.69, 1,647 strikeouts. Wise played for the Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, Boston Red Sox, and Cleveland Indians and San Diego Padres from 1964 to 1982. He was a Tribe player from 1978 and 79. He was an All-Star in 1971 and 73. He won an American League title in 1975 with the Red Sox. He had a no-hitter on June 23, 1971. He was the winning pitcher in Game 6 of the 1975 World Series. He played for the Rose City Little League World Series title team in 1958. He had a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs in the same game. He was a starting pitcher, won a game in the 1975 ALCS. He was traded to the Tribe on March 30th, 1978 in the Dennis Eckersley deal. He was a good hitting pitcher, had 15 career home runs. He hit 195 as an MLB hitter. He was a pitching coach in the minors for the New Britain Red Sox, the Lancaster Barnstormers, and won an Atlantic League title in 2006. In the minors, he played for the Bakersfield Bears and Arkansas Travelers. In the SPBL, he played for the Winter Haven Super Sox. He was involved in the famous trade, the 1972, from the St. Louis Cardinals to the Philadelphia Phillies for Steve Carlton. Rick Wise. Mike Paxton was a 12-11 with an ERA of 3.86, 33 games, 27 starts, 5 complete games, 2 shutouts, a save, 191 innings pitched, and 96 strikeouts. Paxton was born in 1953 in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was 67 years old in 2020. During his MLB career, he was 30-24 with a 4.71 ERA and 230 strikeouts. Paxton pitched for the Boston Red Sox in 1977 and the Cleveland Indians from 1978 to 1980. 1978 was his best MLB season. On July 21, 1978, he had 4 strikeouts in the 5th inning of an 11-0 win against the Seattle Mariners. In the minors, he played for the Charleston Charlies, Elmira Pioneers, and the Pawtucket Red Sox. Mike Paxton. Don Hood was 5-6 with an ERA of 4.48, 36 games, 19 starts, a complete game, 154 innings pitched, and 73 strikeouts. Hood was with Cleveland from 1975 to 1979. Don Hood. David Clyde was 8-11 with an ERA of 4.28, 28 games, 25 starts, 5 complete games, 153 innings pitched, and 83 strikeouts. Clyde was born in 1955 in Kansas City, Kansas, and he was 65 years old in 2020. For his career, he was 18-33 with an ERA of 4.63 and 228 strikeouts. With the Texas Rangers from 1973 to 1975, and with the Cleveland Indians from 1978 to 1979. He was billed as the next Sandy Koufax. He was the first overall pick in the 1973 MLB draft. Clyde's career he was a poster boy for bringing up young players prematurely, which led to arm injuries. He was considered a savior of the Rangers franchise in 1973 when home attendance was boosted by the David Clyde hype and reportedly prevented the bankruptcy of the team. His senior year in high school in Houston, Texas, he went 18-0 as a pitcher on the baseball team, throwing 5 no-hitters. He received a $125,000 signing bonus, the highest bonus ever at that time for a draft pick, including free college education. Clyde's career goal was, quote, to become the greatest pitcher ever. 20 days after his last high school game, Clyde was a winning pitcher in his first MLB start. 35,000 fans came to Arlington Stadium. It was a sellout, the first sellout in that stadium history. He pitched 5 innings. He gave up 1 hit and a run, 8 strikeouts, and a 4-3 victory. Clyde called it his most memorable game of his career. As a rookie, he was 4-8 with a 5.01 ERA. On February 28, 1978, he was traded by the Rangers with Willie Horton for Tom Buskey and John Lowenstein. Clyde had this to say about his career, quote, "A classic case of how not to handle a young talent. 1 week before the 30th anniversary of his first career game, Clyde threw out the ceremonial first pitch to ex-teammate Ken Suarez in a Rangers-Astros game. David Clyde developed alcoholism. He had 2 failed marriages. With his third wife, Robin, he had 3 children, Ryan, Reed, and Lauren. He worked for his father-in-law in the lumber business in Tomball, Texas for 20 years, which he called one of the best periods of his life, where he had peace of mind. He retired in 2003 as vice president of the company and coached a local youth baseball team. He is currently a caregiver for his elderly father. In the minors, he played for the Sacramento Solons and Tucson Toros, in Venezuela for Águilas del Zulia and Tiburones de la Guaira. David Clyde. Dave Freisleben was 1-4 with an ERA of 7.11, 12 games, 10 starts, 44 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts. Dave Freisleben was born in 1951 in Carapolis, Pennsylvania, and he was 69 years old in 2020. He was 34-60 in his MLB pitching career with an ERA of 4.30, 430 strikeouts for the San Diego Padres, Cleveland Indians, and Toronto Blue Jays from 1974 to 1979. He was with the Tribe just in 1978. He was best remembered as a young prospect called upon for a photo shoot for the new Washington Stars road uniforms, which seemed like the San Diego Padres when they moved from move to Washington, D.C. in 1974. He was a quarterback on his high school football team in 1972 in the Texas League. He pitched there, did well. 1974 at the Padres, he joined Bill Grief, Randy Jones, and Dan Spilder, one of the best young starting rotations in the National League. 1974 game against Cincinnati against the Reds, he had pitched 13 innings, did not have a decision, did not allow any runs. Lou Brock tied Ty Cobb's all-time stolen base record when Freisleben was on the mound on August 29, 1977. On June 22, 1978, he was traded to the Tribe by the Padres for Bill Laxton. On November 3rd of 1978, he was traded by the Tribe to the Toronto Blue Jays for a player to be named later, Sheldon Mallory. After retiring, he coached in the minors in the Texas. He was coaching the minors for the Texas Rangers for a couple seasons. He became a saltwater fishing guide in Galveston Bay near his home in San Leon, Texas. In the minors, he played for the Alexandria Aces, Hawaii Islanders, and in Mexico for the Sultanes de Monterrey. Dave Freisleben. Jim Kern was the closer. Kern was 10-10 with an ERA of 3.08, 58 games, 13 saves, 99 innings pitched, and 95 strikeouts. On October 3, 1978, he was traded by the Tribe with Larvell Blanks to the Texas Rangers for Bobby Bonds and Len Barker. And in his MLB playing career continued until 1986. He came back, ended his career playing for the Indians, and he played on the 1978 American League All-Star team. Jim Kern. Paul Russell was 2-4 with an ERA of 3.11, 18 games, 6 starts, a complete game, 89 innings pitched, and 24 strikeouts. Paul Russell was born in 1947 in Quincy, Illinois, and he was 73 years old in 2020. His career record in MLB was 16-16 with an ERA of 4.51, 188 strikeouts. He played for the Chicago Cubs and Cleveland Indians from 1975 to 1979. His brother Rick Russell was an MLB pitcher from 1972 to 1991 and won 214 games. On August 21, 1975, Paul and Rick became the only brothers to have a combined shutout with the Cubs. Rick was the starting pitcher, went 6 1/3, and Paul finished up with 2 1/3 as the Cubs won that game 7-0. On June 26, 1978, he was traded to the Tribe by the Cubs for Dennis DeBar. In college, Paul Russell played for the Western Illinois University Leathernecks baseball team. In the minors, he played for the Wichita Arrows. In Venezuela, he played for Navegantes del Magallanes. Paul Russell. Sid Manji was 4-3 with an ERA of 2.76, 48 games, 2 starts, 6 saves, 84 innings pitched, and 54 strikeouts. And Manji was with Cleveland for 1977 and 1981. Sid Manji. Dan Spillner was 3-1 with an ERA of 3.67, 36 games, 3 saves, 56 innings pitched, 48 strikeouts. Spillner was born in 1951 in Casper, Wyoming, and he was 68 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he was 75 and 89 with an ERA of 4.21, 878 strikeouts, and 50 saves. Spillner pitched for the San Diego Padres, Cleveland Indians, and Chicago White Sox. From 1974 to 1985, he was with Cleveland from 1978 to 1984. He led the Padres in strikeouts in 1975, and on September 11th, 1974, he had 3 hits and struck out 10 in a complete game shutout, or 3 hits against the Astros. He was part of MLB's busiest bullpen in 1977. Spillner and Dave Tomlin both pitched 78 games, and Raleigh Fingers 78 with San Diego. 1982 with the Tribe, he had a fine year as a reliever, went 12-10 with 21 saves. The Toledo Blade called him, quote, one of the league's best relief pitchers. He was prone to giving up home runs. Bill James said that Spillner was the worst hitting pitcher of the 1970s. He batted .077. In the minors, he played for the Alexandria Aces and Hawaii Islanders. He was traded to the Tribe by the San Diego Padres on June 14, 1978 for Dennis Kinney. Dan Spillner. Dennis Kinney was 0-2 with an ERA of 4.42, 18 games, 5 saves, 38 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts. Dennis Kinney was born in 1952 in Toledo, Ohio, and he was 68 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he was 4-9 with an ERA of 4.55 and 75 strikeouts. Kinney pitched for the Cleveland Indians, San Diego Padres, Detroit Tigers, and Oakland A's from 1978 to 1982. On August 21, 1980, with the Padres, he pitched 9 1/3 innings of relief in a 17-inning game. In the minors, he played for the San Jose Bees, Williamsport Tomahawks, and Toledo Mudhens, and the Hawaii Islanders and Evansville Triplets. Dennis Kinney. Wayne Garland was 2-3 with an ERA of 7.89, 6 games, all starts, 29 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts. Garland was with Cleveland from 1977 to 1981. He had arm trouble in 1978. Garland had shoulder pain in spring training. He had a rotator cuff operation. April 29th was his last game of the season. Wayne Garland. Al Fitzmaurice was 0-1 with an ERA of 6.28, 7 games, 14 innings pitched, and 5 strikeouts. Fitzmaurice was with Cleveland from 1977 to 1978. This was his end of his MLB career in 1978 with the California Angels. He was released by the Tribe on July 13th of 1978, signed by the Angels 5 days later, and finished his career in 1978. Al Fitzmaurice. Rick Kruger had no decisions and an ERA of 3.86. 6 games, 9 innings, pitched 7 strikeouts. Kruger was born in 1948 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And he's 72 years old, he was 72 years old in 2020. For his MLB career, he was 2-2 with an ERA of 4.06 and 20 strikeouts. Kruger pitched for the Boston Red Sox and Cleveland Indians between 1975 and 1978, and also with the Yomiuri Giants in Japan in 1979. He was an All-American at Michigan State University for the Spartans baseball team. In Puerto Rico, he played for Criollos de Caguas. After retiring, he was the head baseball coach for Cornerstone College. He had a mission trip to Russia. He talked with children at orphanages and soldiers. He had mission trips with the Cleveland Browns tackle Bill Glass. He visited prisons in Pittsburgh and in Florida. He taught math at Walker Charter Academy in Walker, Michigan. Rick Kruger. Now, after the regular season, after the Red Sox had won the Yankees-Red Sox finished in a tie. They had a 1-game playoff. Bucky Tent hit the big home run. And then in the ALCS, the New York Yankees, who were champions of the American League East, defeated the Kansas City Royals, the Western Division champions, 3-1. And the NLCS, the LA Dodgers, National League West champions, defeated the Philadelphia Phillies, National League East champions, 3-1. The 1978 World Series, the New York Yankees, American League champions, defeated the LA Dodgers, National League West champions, 4-2. MVP was Bucky Dent, who hit .417 with 7 RBIs. Hall of Famers in the World Series included, for the Yankees, Goose Gossage, Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson, and Bob Lemon, the manager. For the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda, their manager, and Don Sutton. Game 3, Greg Nettles had 4 defensive plays like Brooks Robinson in the 1970 World Series. Games 1 and 2 were in L.A., and the Dodgers won both games and were up 2-0 in the series. Top of the 9th, the Dodgers had a lead 4-3 with 2 on and 2 out. Bob Welsh against Reggie Jackson. Jackson fouled off several pitches and struck out on a 3-2 pitch to end the game. However, the Yankees won the next 4 to sweep. Game 4, there was Game 4 controversy. In the 6th, Reggie Jackson was a base runner. There was a hit. He was hit by a thrown ball. The Dodgers claimed interference. The umpire said no. Michael Fallon said, quote, "Once again, it was Reggie Jackson who crushed the Dodgers in the World Series, though this time he had done it with his hip, not with his bat." After the regular season, the MVPs were in the American League, Jim Rice for the Boston Red Sox, and the National League, Dave Parker for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cy Young Award winners in the American League, Ron Guidry of the Yankees, and the National League, Gaylord Perry for the San Diego Padres. Perry became the first pitcher to win the Cy Young in both the American League and National League. He was 40 years old, the oldest Cy Young Award pitcher. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp Statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue Electricity, Severance Hall Stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum rebels, Christmas Story House happy people, Museum of Contemporary Art maniacs, Cleveland Botanical Garden goers, old arcade admirers, Playhouse Square seers, Settlers Landing Park purists, Western Reserve Historical Society wonders, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse renegades, Cuyahoga Valley National Park pioneers, Great Lakes Science Center supporters, Holden Arboretum enjoyers, and Cleveland Public Library learners. Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. It's been 74 years since 1948. Mr. Paul Dolan, please consider changing the name of the team back to the Indians, and to give Cleveland Indians fans hope that this is our year, that the 74-year title drought for the Cleveland Indians can end. God bless you. I hope you consider changing the name back to the Indians. Dear viewer, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.